Hey guys, TommyBryson here, and welcome back to the channel. I'm an accountant. I've read over 200 plus books on money, and I got financially free by the age of 26. And today we're actually going to be reacting to some TikToks. I'm going to tell you what is good, and I'm also going to tell you what is bad. What I love today is that there is a lot of good advice, but you need to be able to tell what's good and what's bad. If you don't, it costs you a lot of money, because money is not a joke. It is your time, and I take it very seriously. So let's get right into it in this video and see what some good TikToks and some bad TikToks actually look like.
And I owe $65,000. Things aren't always what they seem on social media.
So pause right here. This girl is 28 years old and owes $65,000 in debt. And you might even want to marry this girl. That's why it's so important that as young men and also as young women, when you are ready to get married, you have conversations, not just about what's your favorite color or if you like TikTok or not, but also like, do you have debt? And what is your belief on debt? Would I marry someone with debt? The answer is absolutely. But I would not marry someone that says, hey, I'm in debt, I don't care, and I want to get into more debt, because their philosophy on debt is completely different than I am. Okay, I want to get debt free. I don't want any debt. I want to be financially free. But if all you care is about getting into debt, I don't want you as a wife. I don't want you as a husband if I'm a woman, okay? That's the idea.
But why aren't you stressed if you owe so much? Well, I'll tell you why. But first, I'll explain what I owe. 1. $10,000 in credit card debt that I took out in college. 2. $15,000 loan that I took out 2 years ago for my business and couldn't afford it anymore after 6 months. 3. $10,000 off my car, but that's okay because it's almost done being paid off. 4. $7,000, probably now $9,000 of student loans that I haven't paid since I graduated in 2019.
So off the pop, right? We got credit. We got all of it. Okay, we got credit card debt. We got student loan debt. We got car loans, and on top of that, we even have some business loan debt. Okay. The answer is, when you're in college, do you know why you get so many credit card offers? It's not because you are the right person. It's because you are the perfect person for banks to actually offer like credit cards to, because it's easy to lend to you because you have a lot of interest and you want to buy certain things and you don't have any money because you're just getting started and you're basically broke. So they lend you these credit cards at 28, 25, 35%. You're going to get poor. You get these cars you can't afford, you're going to get poor. You want to start a business, you have an idea, you have no capital, you think life is hard, the only way to start off is with debt. The answer is no. So you go into debt. Big problem, big problem, big problem, okay?
5. $2,000 left over of a $7,000 loan that my ex let me borrow. 6. $8,000 to 2 individual people who let me borrow money last year when business was absolutely dead. So for a total of $16,000. 7. About $3,000 to individual people that I'm gonna pay off this month.
So this girl not only owes money to like institutions, she also owes money to people, including her ex-boyfriend, including family members and other people. First of all, I have a very easy rule and it's basically, I don't lend money to family. I don't lend money to friends. I only do business with business people, okay, for the most part. And most of the time, it never involves me lending money. If somebody needs money, I tell them this exact phrase that I always say: I don't lend money, but in what other way can I help you that doesn't involve money? I can also give you advice about how to get out of debt if you want. And most people just don't even really care about that, but just don't get yourself involved in lending family money, especially if you're the one doing the lending. If you owe family money right now, work very hard to pay them off and say thank you and never do it again. It complicates the heck out of a relationship because, again, the borrower is slave to the lender. You can't change that fact.
So what am I doing sitting here so calmly when I owe so much money? Well, let me tell you, stressing about it is not going to make it better. So I still enjoy my coffees and I get my healthy meals from every table. Every table sponsor me. And just because I am in debt doesn't mean I have to look raggedy. So I get clothes from Shein like every maybe like 4 months. But here's how.
So by the way, do I agree with this idea? Of course I do. It sounds surprising, I know, but I do agree with the idea that if you are in debt, it doesn't mean you need to be stressed. You need to be worried all the time. You need to be pulling out your hair. I believe that what you do need is a plan, and you need to get things in order, and you need to start making payments and having a plan, okay? Now, if I'm her, am I, for example, going to be buying lattes and going out to eat and not doing the cooking? And for example, like ordering clothes on Shane? The answer is no. I've been through this. And when I went through this, what I did was I went to Goodwill to do my shopping for $1 a t-shirt, okay? And I basically just ate all my meals at home. And I saved as much money as possible because I did not want to stay in the mud for longer than I needed to, okay? That's the first thing. But you should not be crazy stressed about this stuff, man. It happens, you'll get over it, you'll pay it off, and you'll be done with it.
I'm gonna fix it. I'm considering declaring bankruptcy. I know a lot of people who did it, and now they have perfect credit, and that'll erase my $25,000. My student loans, I know they're gonna get forgiven.
So that's ruined, okay? That's just ruined. First of all, I think people that declare bankruptcy under false pretenses, that should be like reason to take them to jail, because you're basically borrowing money that you have no intention of paying, and even with intention, even with the possibility of paying, you're choosing to say, hey, I can't pay you, I'm going to declare bankruptcy. Because obviously if she's going out there making this video, she has a car, she has income, she's buying like little coffee and all this latte stuff, and buying clothes in Shane, which by the way, shout out to Shane, but I don't do Shane clothes because for the most part they're bad quality, and I don't support those type of factory stuff. But for the most part, like, that's not okay. If you owe people money, do your best to pay it off. If, for example, you had debt and now it's gone to collections, don't let it, for example, like just be wiped out or whatever. No, like talk and negotiate with collections. Again, collections, they buy your debt for a discount. You know this. Have them write you a letter that if you pay it, they're going to take it off your credit. You pay it, you're done with it. But be a man or a woman where your word matters. Do not be someone that basically gets into debt and then declares bankruptcy. That's ridiculous, man. It's having no responsibility. This, I can't do. Don't respect it at all.
About to buy $1 million home for half the price. The thing is, you can only do this if you know how to utilize cryptocurrency. So this is the house that I'm gonna buy, and it costs about 1.4 million. So
this is the house he's gonna buy for 1.4 million, and he can do it with half the money if he's doing crypto. Okay.
I have to pay around $7 grand a month. But for this entire house,
$7,000 a month. Why do you want such a big house?
The total that I need to pay is $740K, and it's because of crypto. For the down payment, I'll have to pay about 20%, which is $290K. With the remaining $450K, I'm gonna put that into the Anchor protocol.
Okay, so first of all, what you need here is a ton of money, all right? So he's not declaring that part, right? But to have half the money of 1.4 million, which is like 700K or whatever, you need to have that much money, which most people don't. And to put that 20% down and then put that into some crypto investment to actually make you that much money, not everyone has access to that much capital. But here's one thing I will tell you that will save you a ton of money and also a ton of time. A lot of people, they want to buy a big house. Ask yourself why. The main reason is because we've been basically programmed from a long time. You see Batman in some big mansion. You see rich guys in the movies, big mansions. The truth is, when you have a home and you actually buy a home, you're going to figure out that it is a lot of upkeep. The bigger it is, the more problems you're actually going to have. Notice that Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, lives in a standard home. Notice where Elon Musk lives, like in a trailer or something like that. Big homes are not as cool as you think. They are very expensive to maintain, a crazy price to basically clean and all that extra stuff. You don't need them for the most part, okay? And I would abstain from actually buying one, because imagine this, okay? You're buying $1 million home. He's running these numbers on a 30-year mortgage. You're going to be locked in to pay that much money every single month. And homes, by the way, they're not investments. Investments are things that basically guarantee your capital, and you basically get a good return. The truth is that when you actually associate all the costs of owning the home, like all the expenses, you're actually going to break even. So why buy a home in the first place? Because hey, when you have a home, your cost of living is a lot lower. You can lose your job and you can still kind of maintain things around because you don't have that big shelter expense. So a home is more like a security device more than it is, for example, like an investment.
Once I deposit the $450K, it'll yield me 19% per year. That's
19% per year. That's all you have to do. This is so unrealistic. It's ridiculous, okay? When you're looking for easy money and easy opportunities, that's how you go broke. That's how you lose everything, okay? Am I saying that there are no way to make 20% a year? Of course, you can make 100, 200, 300% a year. But but it's usually going to come from having a business, okay? If you just want to have your money somewhere and parked and make money, you can expect to usually make between 8 to 12% at most, and sometimes even just 4% to barely beat inflation.
8 grand a year. Now divide that by 12 months, and that's gonna make me 7.3K a month, just enough to cover the monthly cost of this mansion. After it's paid off,
Now, after it's paid off, okay, go
I'll
ahead.
have a $1.4 million home, plus be making 7.3K a month doing nothing. If you wanna learn more about crypto, check out my bio.
All right, so if you want to learn more about crypto, check out my bio. I mean, I would not trust this guy, man. And just off this one video, you can just lose credibility. The truth is, imagine you have to put into perspective what he's telling you. He's telling you, find this much money, put it into crypto, and it's gonna generate for you like 20% for 30 years. How can you guarantee you're actually going to make that much money per year? Is this money insured? Is this business fortified? Most likely the answer is no, no, and lastly, no. This is not good advice. So far we're just 2-0 basically, and we're not doing well here. I want some positive ones, but let's see what we keep finding here. But this is terrible, terrible advice.
I borrow money, guess what? Do I pay taxes on debt?
I guess no.
I gotta be honest, I seen this video before. I think I watched the whole interview or a part of it, and I did not like this interview because there came a point where Robert Kiyosaki, which is the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, which I used to respect a lot until I found out he went bankrupt, which is not a bad thing. But then I found that his philosophy is just based on building a lot of leverage, a lot of leverage, a lot of leverage. And before you know it, you could just basically fall and lose everything. So you want to be very careful with this idea. But the whole point is, in this video, I think he disrespected this guy.
If you want to find out what I know or tell me what you know, then don't interview me.
Okay.
Just you do your own stupid show.
That's why the guy looks like so like this, right? Like protective or whatever. Like, I guess no. For the most part, I remember this.
Why's that? Why is debt tax-free?
I don't know.
Because that's how money is created.
Robert Kiyosaki is so impressive the way he thinks, because I don't know, man. Like I actually do know. When you build a life based on leverage, you could potentially lose everything. Robert Kiyosaki has made a lot of money selling books, selling courses, and selling ideas. But when you build, and he has a large income, I'm almost guessing, right? But that does not mean his financial advice is actually good. It does not mean that if you put this into practice, you're actually going to be successful. One thing is, for example, somebody trying to sell you a plan on something and making money selling you a plan, but it does not mean the way they made their money was actually by executing their plan. Because, by the way, if you don't know, Robert Kiyosaki's book, Poor Dad, Rich Dad, or whatever, that book is fiction. It's not real. So when you're telling somebody, hey, the way you build wealth is by getting into a bunch of debt, because debt is how money is created. When you borrow money, you can borrow money without debt free. Now you have access to the money and you use leverage here, leverage there. When things go wrong, you could lose everything. You could be wiped out. If you don't believe me, look into 1929 and the Great Depression, and how people that had a real estate that was basically overly leveraged, they basically just lost everything and were completely wiped out. Those things happen. You can read a book that we actually did on our book club. I'll put the link down below or put it in the tag right here. But it's called Depression Diaries by Benjamin Roth. And it goes into detail also why you don't want to think this way. Okay, be very careful with following guys like this.
And so the banks love it. They love people who borrow lots of money. So how do I get rich? I borrow money.
That's not true. You know, if you look into it, I think the average millionaire is like 57 years old. And I think Dave Ramsey also did a study, and most of their net worth tends to come in, for example, not even from their home, but the most part is it doesn't come from being like overly leveraged. Be very careful. People make money selling you something, but it doesn't mean they make money applying what they actually tell you. When I tell you guys about like, hey, invest money into an index fund, save your money. You know how I got financially free? Doing that exact same thing I'm telling you. Before I was doing the YouTube thing, I had my business and I used that money to also invest. That's how I made my money. So I might be telling you about this stuff, but that's what I'm actually doing, you know? Be very careful with this. This is so dangerous.
And I buy assets with it. The poor person borrows money and buys liabilities like purses, cars, houses, and they get poorer and poorer and poorer.
You know, there's a quote by Donald Trump, and he was talking about that he was walking on the street, or I heard this quote. I don't even know if it's a real story, but he was walking on the street and he saw a homeless man, and he realized that the homeless man was better off than he was because he just had a bunch of debt. The answer is, this is such a fallacy to just kind of say, for example, blatantly, hey, poor people just borrow money to buy garbage. No, there are people that borrow money to buy assets and they're overly leveraged and eventually they lose everything. What you want to do is have a plan that's going to last you a lifetime, and be very careful buying into this because this is not real. Okay, it's not real. Be very careful with this stuff. My philosophy is almost contrarian to this. And by the way, Dave Ramsey is also another person that basically he sells you on the idea of no debt, no debt, no debt, but he makes a lot of his money selling this philosophy. But at the same time, you can see him carry out this philosophy even in the way he expands, the way he buys his real estate, the way he built his company, the way he built that office building, okay, which cost him millions of dollars, the way he buys his cars. Yes, he sells the philosophy, he makes money in the philosophy, but he also lives it. And people apply it, and you see how they end up in the long run. So use your own intuition. Am I telling you no debt? Yes, I do believe in that. No debt for the most part. Only for the house while you're basically trying to pay it off in less than 15 years. But you want to do your own thinking as a man and as a woman, because at the end of the day, you are responsible for everything that happens with your money.
Yes, sir.
My name's Francis Cook. So I'm a small fish in a big pond. I have a mindset question. So I took out 2 loans to get here today. I don't even have money for a hotel.
Give him a big hand, guys.
Thank you.
All right, so this is obviously Grant Cardone. And by the way, we are 3. Like, I have not seen any good advice. And this one is not looking like it's good. So today might just be one of those days, guys, where all we see is just terrible money advice and it's just like all red. But here we have a guy, and you hear these stories all the time. Where? In fiction, in movies, where you have the guy that has nothing, takes ultimate risk, gets one opportunity, he takes it, a lot of things happen in the way, and then finally he achieves it. This is called a 3-arc story, okay? It doesn't mean it's real life. So this guy now is at Grant Cardone's meeting or whatever, took 2 loans to get there, has nowhere to stay. I saw this in real life with a friend of mine when I was in college. He went to LA and he sold basically everything. He went to LA to chase the dream of being a rapper. He was back with us like within 2 years, okay? It's not how you think. It isn't how you think. Life is not a movie. It's not a movie.
Yes, I've slept in my car the past 2 nights, but I just wanted to show up. So my question is, how do you 10x your mindset to like break through that fear of just like getting to the next point?
Well, it seems to me like...
What is the next point, right? When your whole idea is just, for example, money, 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 money. I mean, a logical point could just be get a job and just start saving and get order in your life and start, for example, building up your skills. I mean, that's also fine. 2 loans, sleeping in his car to talk to Grant Cardone. And by the way, I've lived through that. For some reason, we tend to idolize people online, and we tend to believe that just if this person tells me something that is going to change my life forever. It's not real. There is no roadmap. There is no 10-step plan to success. All you have is a compass to point you in the right direction, but you got to do your own walking and you have to do your own seeking.
Like you've already done that. You need to pick up a check. Like, I would tell you, before today is over, you should get somebody to give you $500.
Before today's over, get $500 from someone. Well, how do you? Well, you're in this conference, right? And what he's basically here's the advice that's so glorified here, right? Which is basically, you need money. Before you leave today, get some money. How do you do it? What's the system behind it? What's going on here?
That worked. So somebody asked, what do I do?
Hold on, bro. Bro, do not talk through the close.
So basically, this guy's just like receiving money from people. I mean, and the people are clapping, but just analyze this for a second. You have someone that is in debt, has no job, basically, that's what he's kind of saying, and he's sleeping in his car, and people are clapping. It sounds like a movie, right? Hopefully, in the next arc, we're going to see him, for example, as a billionaire. But the odds of that happening are not really there, man.
I didn't promise him I would do it. I never met him, don't know him. And I just gave him the most valuable thing in the world, dude. Attention.
Obviously, this video did not come out how I wanted to. I usually want it to be, for example, some positive TikToks and some bad TikToks. All around were just terrible. And when I see things like this, it's like, it makes me a little mad and kind of like sad, because these are the exact same ideas and ideals that people get super motivated about. You see somebody, wow, he has nothing and he just got a lot. There's just a chance. You got to go ahead and take it, risk everything. Life is not a movie. When you do things like this in a disorderly fashion and you risk everything, there is a high chance you will lose everything. And those people that you hear about that they basically made it overnight, guess what? People do win the lottery sometimes, but that doesn't mean that's the approach you actually want to take. When you hear about people doing leverage with like Bitcoin and trying to buy assets like houses, or people telling you just borrow a lot of money and buy houses, and you hear about the girl that was kind of applying that same theory, and what happened? The business died, right? She went to school, but what happened? Her business still didn't work. And now she's stuck there, and her only idea now is what? Bankruptcy. I mean, how is this good? It's not good. I think you guys agree with me, right? It's not good. So leave me down below, guys, some links to some positive videos, because I want to react to some positive ones next time. Thanks for watching, though. Again, be very careful with the advice you hear. You might just hear clapping, you might just hear affirmation, but it does, and you might even hear some fancy effect music, but it doesn't mean it's good advice. I'll see you guys next time. Join our book club to get more information. Subscribe to the channel. And here's our latest video on our book club. Thanks for watching. Lights out. TommyBryson out.